Welcome to Soul Growth Stories, where we explore the profound journey of resilience, proving that even the driest earth holds promise. The sun beat down relentlessly on the cracked earth, turning what was once a green paradise into a desolate and silent wasteland. Silence had befallen the village as families packed their belongings, fleeing the drought that had stolen their hope and their livelihood. They looked at the gray sky with resentment, convinced that nature had turned against them, and that staying meant certain starvation. Amidst the exodus stood Samuel, a man whose roots went as deep as the ancient trees that once flourished here. His neighbors shouted over the wind, warning Samuel that he was a fool to stay and guard a graveyard of dust. But Samuel simply shook his head, his voice steady as he declared that he would not abandon the land that raised him. As the last wagon disappeared into the haze, the silence returned, heavier than before, but Samuel did not feel afraid. He knelt upon the parched ground, feeling the faint pulse of life that still lingered deep beneath the layers of dust. While others saw only death in the soil, he envisioned life waiting to be awakened by sweat, tears, and unwavering faith. The work was grueling, each strike of the pickaxe sending shockwaves through his arms as he battled the hardened, stubborn earth. Day turned into night, and the scorching heat gave way to a chilling cold, yet Samuel refused to put down his tools. He knew that water was the key, so he devised a plan to capture the morning dew and channel underground streams. Every drop was precious, a diamond of survival that he carefully collected to nourish the seeds he had saved for years. He built channels with his bare hands, creating a path for the water to flow exactly where the thirsty roots waited. Weeks turned into months, and solitude became his only companion, yet his resolve remained as solid as the rocks he moved. Nature tested him with violent storms that threatened to undo his work, but he stood as a guardian over his land. Though his heart ached at the destruction, he did not mourn for long, knowing that rebuilding was the only path forward. He planted his last seeds with a prayer, entrusting his future to the soil he had lovingly tended with his life. Each day was a cycle of hope and labor, carrying water bucket by bucket until his back ached and hands bled. Travelers passing by mocked the madman digging in the dirt, unable to see the vision that burned brightly within his mind. He ignored their laughter, for he knew that those who do not plant the seeds have no right to judge the harvest. Under the vast canopy of stars, he dreamed of green waves of grain dancing in the wind, a symphony of life. Then, one glorious morning, a speck of green broke the monotony of brown, a tiny miracle reaching for the sun. Samuel wept not from sadness, but from the overwhelming realization that the earth had finally answered his call and his sacrifice. One sprout became 2, then 10, then hundreds, as the dormant life beneath the surface awakened in a glorious explosion. Energized by this victory, he worked with double the strength, expanding his canals to nurture the growing family of plants. The crops grew tall and strong, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind, creating a sanctuary of cool shade and life. Birds returned to sing their morning songs, and butterflies danced among the leaves, signaling that nature's balance was being restored. The air was no longer dry and choking. It was filled with the sweet, earthy scent of growth and impending harvest. Even the skies seemed to celebrate his persistence, sending gentle rains to wash away the memory of the long drought. The plants drank greedily, their roots anchoring deeper into the revitalized soil, standing as a testament to one man's will. A rainbow arched over the field, a colorful bridge connecting the struggles of the past with the abundance of the future. The season of harvest arrived, painting the landscape in gold and red, a bounty far greater than anyone had imagined. Samuel's hands, once blistered from digging, now gently gathered the fruits of his labor, his heart swelling with immense pride. From above, his farm looked like a precious emerald set in stone, a beacon of life in a sea of desolation. Word of the miracle spread, and soon, The silhouette of returning wagons appeared on the horizon, moving slowly toward the oasis. They stood at the gate, their mouths open in disbelief, unable to comprehend how the dead land had birthed such life. Shame washed over them as they remembered their mocking words, realizing that they had lacked the courage to believe. Samuel walked out to meet them, not with arrogance. A neighbor stepped forward, voice trembling, asking if they could share in the water and food they had once abandoned. Without hesitation, Samuel opened his gates and filled their empty wagons, for his harvest was too great for one man. They feasted together, the taste of fresh food reminding them of the community they had lost and the hope they found. Samuel held up a handful of soil and told them that the land was never dead. It was only sleeping, waiting. He taught them that running away from difficulties solves nothing, but facing them with patience yields the greatest rewards of all. Inspired by his success, they asked him to teach them his ways. Eager to reclaim the land they had once forsaken, Samuel became their teacher, guiding their hands as they dug trenches and learned to listen to the whispers of the earth. Slowly, the village began to breathe again, the sound of hammers and laughter replacing the howling wind and silence of abandonment. The green patches connected, forming a quilt of life that covered the scars of the drought, healing the land completely. Children played in the fields where dust once ruled, their laughter a melody that promised a future free from fear. Samuel watched it all from the shade of a tree he had planted, his heart full, his mission finally complete. A child brought him a fruit from the new harvest, a symbol of the legacy that would outlive his own days. He tasted the sweetness of the fruit, knowing it was flavored by the bitterness of his struggle and the salt of tears. The transformation was not just of the soil, but of the souls of everyone who witnessed the miracle of persistence. They no longer feared the dry seasons, for they had learned the secrets of water and the resilience of the human spirit. Samuel walked among the grain one last time, his hand brushing the golden stalks that bowed in reverence to their creator. He passed his tools to the next generation, entrusting them with the duty to protect and nurture the land he saved. The young man grasped the handle, feeling the weight of the legacy and the promise to never let the land die. The village stood as a living monument to the idea that patience is bitter, but its fruit is the sweetest of all. Samuel found peace in the setting sun, knowing he had turned a graveyard into a garden through the power of belief. Like the wildflowers that now bloomed freely, hope had returned to stay, rooted deeply in the hearts of the people. Darkness no longer brought fear of the unknown, but the comfort of rest after a day of meaningful and productive labor. He told them stories of the dry days, not to scare them, but to remind them of the strength they carried within. They listened with wide eyes, understanding that their green world was a gift purchased with the currency of perseverance and grit. Every dream starts like a seed, buried in darkness, waiting for someone brave enough to water it with their own faith. Samuel showed us that we cannot control the weather, but we can control how deep we dig and how long we stand. The harvest was not just about food, it was about the community realizing that together, they could weather any storm that came. Generations would walk these fields, telling the tale of the man who stayed when the world told him to run away. The sky smiled upon them, blue and vast, promising that as long as they cared for the earth, it would provide. And so, Samuel the farmer became a legend, not because he conquered nations, but because he conquered the barren, hopeless dust. Let this story be a reminder that your current barren situation is not the end, but merely a canvas for creation. Keep digging your trenches, keep watering your seeds, and trust that your harvest is coming, even if you cannot see it. For in the garden of life, the most beautiful flowers are those that have fought the hardest to reach the light. Thank you for joining us on this journey of growth. May you find the strength to cultivate your own barren lands. This has been Soul Growth Stories. Remember to subscribe for more tales of resilience and hope. Until next time, keep growing.